Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach,
And I'm Pepper.
and today we are reacting. Breaking news! Breaking news!
Right.
Now, I'm guessing by the time this video is posted, this is probably going to be about 2 weeks old news. Old news. No one's going to be talking about it anymore. But my gosh, a week ago, I think maybe that wasn't even that long ago, but everyone was talking about this. Everyone was dropping that they had this secret of Everdell Farshore. New game in the Everdell world, but not necessarily like an expansion or additional content to the original Everdell, but just one that's set in the same world and plays
Yes.
maybe similarly to the original Everdell.
Carrying a few things over. Maybe more than a
Yes,
few.
yes, but yeah, apparently everyone got this but us. Even our
Yes.
grandmother, I think, got a copy. I think we saw you saw her and she was playing it.
Yeah,
So
she was playing. I'm
I
like,
I don't
where
know.
did
I
you
don't know
get
why
this?
we
What?
didn't get a copy.
Because I didn't even know of it at the time. I'm like, this game doesn't even exist. Is this a home
Right.
design, Grandma?
Yeah. So I
Cindercrafts.
don't know. But yeah, so this one is also a little bit so one of the big differences, I guess, from Everdell is that it's actually going straight to kind of a pre-order versus
Yes. It's
using kind
pre-order.
of crowdfunding, which I believe all previous Everdell content has used. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I
I think so.
believe that's the case.
I think so.
Um, so, yeah, and you can pre-order it now for $75,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is cut down from $100, which
Cut
seems a
down.
bit steep.
It
I don't
does.
remember what Everdell, the original first, came out at. I feel like it'd be closer to like 60, but I
And
could
it
be wrong.
looks like it's probably about the same amount of components. So
Mhm.
it does seem a little steep, but I mean, just bump it up there. So 75 seems a little better. Even 75 is a lot. And I guess we'll give you our thoughts later on if we think that we'll be getting it, if that's worth it for us.
All
Uh,
right.
but
Yeah.
we are
Um,
pretty big fans of this.
Yes, you can even see right
Yep.
here. We've got the Everdell. What is it? I don't even remember what it's called. Complete collection box. So yeah, it takes up a big spot in my collection for sure. So yeah, I'm a really big fan of the game. I think it was even in my top 10. We did a video of
Yeah,
our
I think it
top
was in
games last year.
Michaela's
I think it was in my top 10.
top 10 as well, or right
Yeah.
up there at least.
So yeah, one of our favorite all-time favorite games. So obviously I get interested when I see, oh wait a minute, this is set in the Everdell world. But yeah, initially I didn't know if uh, this was, what this exactly was, if it was a completely different game or not. But
Yeah, yeah.
you know, from what
So
I've seen, seems like it's pretty similar.
pretty similar. But the first thing I saw was this amazing cover,
Mhm.
which isn't the same artist, and that's one of the biggest things people talk about when they talk about Everdell is the art.
Mhm.
Andrew Bosley did a phenomenal job bringing the world to life, and when you say there's another one in the same universe, I initially think like, oh, obviously he's going to be returning and doing the artwork, but it's not. It's I forget the name. Very sorry, because I think whoever it is did an amazing job. You said they
Mhm.
did some other games for Stonemeyer, which Andrew Bosley
Yep.
also did a few for that as well. So established, and
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think they did an amazing job with this cover. It feels like the Everdell universe. Also feels a little bit kind of like the North Sea games from Garfield games. It could just be that it is on the sea with the ships, but it feels like a mix of Bosley and Miko. For me personally, that's what I'm getting. I'm sticking to that point now.
Yeah, I like the look of it, but yeah, it is strange that you're now creating this world, this Everdell world supposedly, down in the corner of the box. Can't remember what it Everdell around the world or edge of the map or
Yeah,
something world. It's really surprising to me then that they didn't um, continue to use Andrew Mosley, but I think
yeah,
this is close enough, like you said, with a little bit of tweaking. Um, that I think it still feels like it's
yeah.
in the same universe. It doesn't feel completely different. So that is good. And I think
I,
Andrew Mosley's probably been,
yeah.
I think he's busy with Smoking Bones World or something that he's working on. So,
Oh, yeah,
and I know he does artwork for a lot of games. So
yeah.
he just didn't have time to come back to Everdell. He's like,
And
I
I
thought
think
we were done.
That's true. It's like I was just, you want me back again? They're like, oh, it'll be a long time. Well, thank you for complete collection, whatever. You can go retire and rest now. And then they just call them up the next day. We need you. Yeah, I think
Exactly.
that actually it also separates it a little bit. Makes it feel like it's not just a rehash. So this is expected by August 31st
Hmm.
to be shipping
So
by
pretty
then.
quick.
So, I mean, they surprised us with all this, so I assume they have a plan. Should be able to do that.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I,
pretty
I would
established.
assume. Yeah, I would assume that means the games are probably already here and not still shipping, or else they're very, very close to
Yeah,
being
yeah,
shipped or being done shipping. I would assume
yeah,
that's it's a pretty quick turnaround, so that
yeah.
would be my guess.
Yeah, if they were not
Uh,
prepared, if they messed that up after pulling this big old thing, I think that'd be quite embarrassing. Uh,
yes, yes, but yeah. So yeah, out of hundreds of people that seemed to get the game, I'd looked at a few reviews and a few comments on kind of how this one plays or how it feels different than Everdell, because I think that immediately becomes a question because you start looking at kind of some of these pictures and you see, okay, you got 8 cards out there just like Everdell, and you got some resources
got a big
just like Everdell. You got
useless
your
tower, possibly.
useless
We'll see if
tower,
it has a use.
lighthouse thing, or is it whatever it is? Is it a lighthouse? I think it's a
It's
lighthouse.
harder to tell. I think it is a lighthouse, yeah, but
Yes.
I
So
was
you got that instead of the tree, which, yeah. And then, yeah, you can also buy a wooden version of this, kind of like they had for the tree, where you could buy a wooden version of that
20
for 20
bucks, which
bucks
is
as
a bit
well.
much.
So yeah, it does seem
Looks
a
nice.
little steep.
Not as iconic as the tree, I will say. It's not as recognizable.
I would
Uh,
agree.
so
Yeah, and it sounds like, I mean, if I'm getting into kind of what I've heard, that sounds like it doesn't really hold the workers and stuff. So now it's
yeah,
kind of just used to
even
divide the cards. So then it's like, a lot of people complained about the tree because it would kind of block the view potentially of players, and it's just kind of in the way sometimes. But that with the way
it looks like it
the
has some workers on
branches,
there.
yeah,
Smaller
I don't think it
space,
holds all of them though. It sounded
edge of
like
a cliff.
yes. So, and yeah, you could probably put a couple workers up there, but it sounded like people were not able to put them on there as easily. So I was like, okay, then it becomes like to me, then it's like, okay, so now you can't even use it for anything. Whereas at least, even though people complained about the tree being kind of too big and in the way, it was at least you could use it for kind of what it was intended
Yeah,
to be used for. And it
yeah,
never,
yeah. They
I guess I
removed
don't really play it too much at 4 players. So maybe if you had
yeah,
4 players, they probably wouldn't all fit up there very easily. But
that's
I
removed all
certainly don't think
function.
4 players would fit in there. I don't know.
Remove the little function that there was for it, except for the cards. You can place the cards next to it at the bottom,
That's true.
and also doesn't look nearly as iconic. Especially if you do put
No.
some labels on there, it just looks like a stump or maybe something
Hmm.
worse.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's not maybe the shape I would have went with, but yeah. Um, yeah, it could look like maybe the tree was cut down or something.
yeah,
But
yeah. But the board looks pretty nice. Great artwork throughout. Like I said, bringing the world to life, but maybe in just a little different setting with all the water here. Cards, very great artwork there, and it looks like gameplay wise is going to be about the same.
mhm,
Um, they have a bunch of different actions here that you can go and get resources, as well as that market of cards, which you can play the cards, and the cards have different effects. Some giving you more actions to do, some giving you scoring conditions, some doing a little production for when you pull your workers back, which is all from the original game. And
mhm.
for me, as I was watching how it was, I initially came to this thinking, is this just going to be a rehash? Same thing, pretty much, slightly different, kind of like Ticket to Ride. And I think it is. I think this is
Yeah.
way too similar for me personally to get it for that price point.
Mhm. I would agree. Yeah,
But
especially the
yeah,
price piece is what really
yeah,
pushes me away a bit, especially, having the complete collection. I feel like maybe if I had not, if I was someone that was brand new to Everdell and wanted to try it for the first time, a couple of the changes that I understood from the few things I watched on it or listened to for it, are that so in Everdell you just kind of put out the 8 cards and whatever comes out comes out. You could have potential
Yep.
duplicates, whereas this one you stack duplicates if they come out, so you're for sure to have 8 different cards, which I like that quite a bit. But I feel like if I want to, I could
You,
just use that rule in
you could
Everdell.
just do it. Yeah, that was like I couldn't remember if that was in the base game because it seems like such a small thing that should be
It
done.
does.
That I was like, was that in the
Yeah.
base game or not? I forget. I feel like I've
Yeah, I
complained
don't
about
believe
it.
it is.
I also feel like it was, but so that it is something you could just do.
Right.
House
Yeah.
rule.
So yeah, there's that, which I think is good, if not great. That might be
Yep.
a great thing. And then I think so instead of having kind of those, there's 3 or 4 different things that I got out, I guess. There's instead of having kind of those difficult goals, which I would say are kind of like, oh, you need the monk and then you need whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, those are very difficult.
Yeah. I
You
don't like
need the
those.
right cards to come out, and then you need to get them. That I agree that that's not the funnest part of especially base Everdell. So I think they kind of just did away with that, and then instead kind of have goals kind of
Based on
based on card types, which are a
yeah,
little bit or a lot easier to
yeah,
actually get, which I like
yeah,
that. Um,
very much.
and then
I agree.
yeah, and then kind of some additional scoring based on card types. I think there's usually 2 conditions out at once or whatever, and you can get some bonus points, which you can kind of see the board around there. You can get like points around that or something. It keeps track of points.
Shift and
I
game
didn't fully
bonuses, game
understand,
points.
yeah, kind of
Yeah,
how those worked, but yeah,
could
that
be a
seemed interesting.
huge, huge chunk of points as well because I think it goes up to like 60. So if
Mhm.
that whole, because that's brand new, kind of that little track of gaining those points. I mean, they may
Mhm.
have taken some mechanics that you could gain points otherwise, and then put them towards this possibly from the original. So I don't know if it's gonna feel all that new, but I like
Right.
that track with bonuses, another way
Yeah.
to get points. I like that. So
Yeah.
that and the scoring mechanism of kind of those banners, and you got some multiplication there for how quickly you did them,
Yep.
improving the scoring, as well as the stacking of cards. All good. All I
Yeah.
think could have been added to the original game.
Yes. And I'm not. I will say,
And
even
may
though I've claimed I'm a huge fan of Everdell, the expansions themselves I have not played very much. So I think some of the expansions bring some of those things into them,
I'd have
kind
to
of
think at least the
other ways to
goals
bring points.
have to
Yeah,
be
if I remember,
adjusted.
I think some have brought some of those types of things in to make it a little bit easier. So I think that was kind of fixed in some expansions. So there is that. So and then I think kind of the last big one that was a difference was the actual chaining, which I feel like is what makes Everdell really great, but I can see the complaints to it where you build one of the buildings and then there's an associated animal that can go with that, um, that you can then play for free if you get it. Sometimes that animal just never comes out, or sometimes you're waiting for that construction and that never comes out. So I can see the complaint there, but I do like that you can do a bunch of them. Whereas in this game, you get, I think, was it 3 or 4 of these metal
Little
anchors?
anchor
Must be
tokens.
3 anchors then if there's 12. So you can do it 3 times in the game, so you have to decide when you want to do that. And I'm like, it feels like that changes it decently significantly. And it sounds
Yeah,
like, yeah, you can mix them a lot easier that way. Um, Kind of opens it up to
yeah,
get them. But then it
yeah.
kind of also takes away from that. What I find enjoyable about that is, yeah,
Changing.
getting
Yeah,
those chains. So
yeah. I didn't. I must have heard that. I saw those tokens, but I didn't. I guess take in that they did remove the chaining as well, which I guess makes sense that they would if they're introducing a new way to kind of freely get cards,
mhm,
that they would remove that. But yeah, I hadn't even thought of that, that they were also then removing that, which is a pretty cool part of the game. Like it said, can be frustrating,
mhm,
but I think one of those iconic little mechanisms in the game that people remember, to a
mhm.
much simpler way
Yeah,
to
I
it.
think there's still I think there's still like a piece of it that has to be
Yeah.
kind of compatible, but you can only do it like 3 times, which
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I like that part of Everdell, so I don't know if this would quite be for me. And I feel like I'm a person that would be like, do I use it for this or when do I use it? And then that
Yeah.
just totally changes it. Whereas in Everdell, it's typically like, well, I should probably take that, otherwise I might not get it.
Yeah. That's
I don't
true.
know. That
Yeah.
kind of changes it a little bit. But
That's kind of the
yeah.
only thing that could be a possible gameplay change that could be negative, I think, here. Otherwise, I do like all those other things. That said, they could be already present somewhat in those expansions that we have yet to dive into. Uh,
Mhm.
so it's not going to be for us, at least not initially. But I think if you're getting into it for the first time, I think there's a couple ease of play changes here with those things. Like you said, it's a little less complicated chaining those cards. The
Mhm.
cards stack, so you're not left with a bunch of duplicates out there. So it just lets you see more options. I feel like it could be maybe the better choice for someone just getting into Everdell right now.
Mhm. That's what I was gonna say. I think this, if I was starting fresh, I would maybe say get this instead of the other one, or instead of the original, just because I think some of those things are probably, um, yeah, a little easier to digest. Like you said, like it takes a few plays, or you haven't played it nearly as much. Kind of takes a few plays to really get an idea of what you can do, and how to kind of get through maybe more of the deck and stuff. Whereas this one, yeah, I don't. It sounds like it won't have that type of problem. So,
Yeah.
because yeah, I will say I believe my first play of Everdell, I was like, hmm, I'm not getting this, or I just was like, I don't know. It wasn't my favorite game. And then just as I've played it more and more, I've grown to like it more and more. Whereas I think this one might take away that first step of, you know,
Yeah. I think that'll still be a
first
little
play
bit
not
because you're,
feeling. But
yeah, yeah, your tableau is still going to be limited, so there's still going to be kind of that to adjust to. But I think it'll make it a lot easier to kind of get into. Uh,
mhm,
but yeah, so also great components looks like unique meeples there,
mhm,
resources as well, which at least one is going to be squishy, kind of like those berries. Not sure which one it would be. Probably the mushroom, I would think.
probably.
I haven't actually heard which one it is, but got some shell point tokens, some really cool boats as well. So if you
Mhm,
like cute stuff, I think this is a fantastic one. Not overly complicated either. So obviously we both like Everdell. So if you're looking at this and you've never played Everdell, I'd highly recommend it. Checking this out or possibly the original. If you have a preference
mhm.
for artwork or maybe want something a little lighter, you could go with this one. Kind of grouped artwork into lighter there, like as if this has better artwork. You have a preference between the two, forget that thought. And also, if you like lighter, you might like this.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, from all I think I watched 2 or 3 reviews. All of those, I think they were people that had liked Everdell and still liked this and thought that it was worth potentially looking into getting. So that is a good sign. So maybe those changes don't affect it negatively. Like it seems like not like majorly negative, but just would kind of change how the game is played and kind
yeah,
of feels like negative in my mind. And obviously, I've got all this extra content already, so it's like, I'm assuming this one is going to get expansions at some point. Would be my
yeah,
guess.
probably,
I
probably,
could be wrong on that, but
probably. But yeah, or if you just want one, don't want expansions, looks like this includes a little bit of those things in there, additional stuff. We
mm,
might have gotten this if we didn't have 2 copies of Everdell. Like if I wanted a copy for myself, that's another thing. But we have that
that's
extra one
true.
that I forgot to bring with me here to Florida. But I'm planning on taking it back once I come visit you. But if we didn't have that, then I might actually back this. But
Yeah,
it's not
that's
how
true.
it worked out.
Not quite how it worked out, but yeah, I guess any other thoughts on this one? I think it is exciting news, and I do really like that it's one you can pre-order and get in a month and a half, 2 months. That just does not seem like it's the case for a lot of games, and um, I mean, they knew people would be excited about this one, whether they owned Everdell or not. So they knew, well, we can bring this to market and it should probably sell well. It doesn't. I don't think it says here how many have sold, but I would assume it's probably doing pretty well. But maybe it's not. I have no idea. That is the one thing when it's not on one of those.
Yeah.
Oh boy, 100. Then you can't really tell how it's doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it'll be interesting.
I wonder. I'm guessing it's gonna do pretty well.
Mhm. I would agree. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, check out some of our other videos. I think we have an unboxing of all that. I don't know.
I
Did we
don't know
do
if
a Chippy of Everdell? I
I
don't
don't
remember if
know
we
if
have.
we ever did. I don't think I have. You guys might
Mhm.
have. I'm not sure, but I can link the unboxing below, and
Yeah,
possibly
if you want
any
to
other
check out that, the
Everdell
complete
videos.
collection,
Yes,
there's a lot.
that's. I forget how long that unboxing was, but I'm sure it's longer than this video.
Maybe this is a long video too, so definitely check us out on that one. But otherwise, as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content and those squishy berries and squishy whatever it is in this game, mushrooms.